Raj, welcome to Seattle. Thank you so much to being here with me today, Monday morning. Thank you so much. Oh my God.
The pleasure's mine. Thank you for having me. Thanks, Jim, for all the wonderful, kind words that he has given, and I'm here. I'm extremely grateful. I'm just happy to be here. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay. So, Raj, you are CEO, Chief Executive Officer, and co founder of Signal and Strain. And we know each other because of Jim Firestone, who is co founder, your partner in crime at Signal and Strain as Strategy Officer, Chief Strategy and Innovation Officer. And I am so excited because Jim, like, just talked about you in ways that I have never heard him talk about a person before, which is like a huge compliment. And I'm just like, who is this guy, right? Like, who is this guy? So, Raj, before we dive in, because I really want to be able to talk shop with you, can you provide some context about you? What people need to know about you before we go into these conversations that are going to be pretty deep? Can you speak a little bit about yourself in contextually in what would make sense for them to understand? Because my network is full of investors, entrepreneurs, business executives, and I would love to introduce and share this wealth of wisdom and experience and knowledge with everyone else.
Absolutely, see. Actually, you teed it up perfectly for me. What can anyone know about me? Well, all your target audiences, the investors, the every single person that you know of. Take a small portion of everyone, put it into a blender, mix it up, and here comes Raj. You know,
Boom.
I've been part of it now. No, but first of all, hello audience. I love to say, meet people. I love people. I think that's one of the best things. Let me start by starting with Jim quickly. Yeah, he spoke very highly of you. I'm so excited to be here, and not only that, he's very kind for talking kind about me because I can be a little bit eccentric, but I get it. Now, listen, best way to look at it is I look at myself, at least in my attempt over my years in life, that I try to be myself as the best version of human being, whatever the definition is. Who knows? I'd not know. But a little bit of my background. Now, I'm actually a simple way to put it. I'm a strat guy. Just start from there, right? My background, computer science. I'm a little bit of a geek when it comes to math and the cosmos, so to speak, with all that stuff. But I worked on the interestingly, Jim had a client called AT&T. I actually had my first job at AT&T, so that's the fun part about it between the two. Now, that's not how we made the connection. So I'm a strat guy, and but I've always been blessed with two other aspects of things. One is the creative lens. When I say creative, everybody's strategist in a way, but just to be able to see things differently, whether it's visually through storytelling and so on and so forth, that adds. And then on the other side of it too, I've always felt like I'm an entrepreneur, and always wanted to be one. So I had good fortunate of being part of businesses and working with people, have done my own and walked away from few things, stuff like that. So I think I'm a little bit of all of this stuff. But at the core, at the epicenter of everything as a human being, I'm a strat guy. In my personal
Yeah.
life, I think I'm an awesome dad, to my Newfoundland and to my daughter, and a great husband. Hopefully, my wife says that. So that's it. That's a little bit about me.
That is awesome. I love it so much. And you are currently in Texas right now, right? And I'm patching in from Seattle. And where in your journey have you done advertising? As in, what are some brands that you worked with?
Oh, absolutely. My first venture into the world of advertising was back in mid 2000. And somebody said to me, I don't get it. Why are you here? You should be in the creative agency somewhere in New York. And I looked at that person and I went like, what? say what? I don't know what you're talking about. And then someone opened the doors for me. So I actually started my career at Young and Rubicon. So I'm a YNR prodigy. I learned a lot from there. And it was awesome. I got to work on some really cool brands. I dabbled around. If I think about it, I touched at some point CoverGirl. Worked on Green Mountain Coffee, General Mills, Cheerios, Old El Paso, and all those brands, and also some luxury brands over the years. I worked on it. So that's how I started. And strat person. For me, I moved around a lot. You finish this, then you go somewhere else. I worked at the Hearst publications for iCrossing. Then I moved a little bit to somewhere else. But at some point, I think 2011 or so, working on the CPG retail, working on these brands with Heineken or Equinox, at some point there was a transition. I started getting pulled into healthcare. And as I started getting pulled into healthcare, I made a decision that I'm going to be dedicated to healthcare. So the last 15 years or so, more and more, been heavily on the healthcare side. So I've kind of been a healthcare strategist and covered all the therapeutic areas you can mostly think of. I can go on and on. So that's my background, and that's what I've done from an agency perspective.
Right, right. And what are you? And recently, in what you and Jim are doing, you guys just got an incredible new account. You guys got an awesome new partnership. Can you speak more about it? Can we talk about it a little bit?
About the account that we have?
Yeah, the cricket.
Of course.
Can we
can
reveal? Okay.
See, we'll talk about whatever you want to talk about. No,
I want to hear about it.
sure. Well, Jim and I would say both of us are very excited, but I'm going to tell you, I think Jim's more excited because he's a sports guy, okay?
Yeah.
And he loves sports, okay? Not that I don't, but he does love sport. So we are very fortunate, and all right, let's take a step back. So you know how it is. Doesn't matter what we have done in our life, right? Jim and I collectively, we have done a lot of work, a lot of brands, some of them pretty big, some of them, we dabble, let's just put it like this. And even with all the work, when you start something of your own, when you're an entrepreneur, what you have done is good, but now you're everything. You're the project manager, you're the account person, you're the one dealing with everything, right?
Yeah.
So for Jim and I, when we kind of decided and we're going to do Cee Ng Strain, to get a client like this, it's fascinating. So we got a sports client, and nevertheless, quick and easiest way I'll put it, we are bringing. Actually, these are Jim's words. Jim, if you're listening, I'm literally stealing your words because I like the line he uses all the time, which is bringing the second largest sport in the world to the first largest market in the world, which is cricket, to the U.S.
Wow.
So that's what we are working on. We have a client who is building the largest privately owned cricket stadium just west of Atlanta in a place called LaGrange. And we were hired as creative growth partners for them. We are focusing on investor strategy. I have background in a little bit on that. And then also on just market shaping, like this is where Jim shines, right? This is not
It
easy
really
to bring,
is.
yeah, this is not easy to just bring a sport in and say, hey, Americans are going to love it. No, we have. Look at me, I'm wearing burnt orange because I'm a big Longhorn fan. And we just beat Oklahoma University. So anyway, point being, for us to get excited about something new, and I myself, I'm learning about cricket after. And I grew up there, but most people think, oh, Raj, no, I've not been to India since 2000, so I don't know much about cricket. I'm also learning about it. But that's our first client. Exciting, big opportunity. It's gonna be awesome.
Congratulations. That's
Thank you.
freaking huge.
It is
Cricket, like that's huge. Like the largest private cricket stadium in the US. That's huge. There's a lot of events that would happen, a lot of gathering. Like that's amazing, and also a place to gather and host incredible champions as well. Inviting people over in that way. I just remember how big cricket is when I was living in Australia. So cricket was everywhere, and so I understand how big this is, and for also all the international folks who do play cricket and who love cricket, now they'll know that there's a place to go to and be welcome in that way. So I think that's a really big job. actually. There's a lot of pressure, but you guys will hit out from the park. Like it'll be great.
See, that's why God made wine, When there's high pressure, just open up a nice bottle. It'll be
Yeah,
all good.
specifically red.
But specifically red. I like it. No, but you're right. It is. It is. But it's also, on the other hand, if you look back in the last 5-6 years, cricket's been here. It's actually there. And
Yeah.
even in Seattle, with having Microsoft and Satya Nadella, he owns a team, and so on. So there's six MLC teams. And it's not like we are starting something from the scratch. There is a momentum, but we're coming in and turning that momentum into a bigger flywheel moment, and that's the intention.
Totally.
So the
Yeah.
pressure is on, but hey, it'll all work out well.
No, it's awesome. It's just like everything that's happening in Las Vegas right now too. They're having like new experiences. They're building a lot of new like gatherings. So that's kind of how I see it. Of like you guys are just amplifying what is already, but like in a centralized area that they're investing in. So that's incredible that you guys have this to be able to shape it in whatever way that makes the most sense. So congratulations.
Thank you.
To you and Jim
Very
both.
excited,
That's
yeah.
awesome. It's sports. Oh my God, I love sports so much. Okay, so so let's talk about you and Jim a little bit more.
Sure.
You guys are both co-founders, and this is a legal partnership. Can you speak a little bit more about your relationship with Jim that has helped you as being the CEO, of making a huge decision on first of all, sharing ownership, if you can define and help what defining ownership means to you, business partnership in the judgment and character, because I know Jim in a very specific way, but you really know Jim in a very specific way. And I think I want to have this open conversation about trust.
Yeah.
Trust, character, and if you can speak more about that, that would be awesome. How you came about to decide, and the story that came about of how you and Jim became, partners.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's interesting. You mentioned a couple of things which I want to hit on. Right, trust is one of them. Yeah, you also talked about partnership. Well, let's start from all right. Let's start from here. I know all the folks who are listening to this wonderful live cast. They all know relationships are not easy. Okay?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Friends, family, it doesn't matter, right? It does, especially if you happen to live in Northeast, where you have your family members all watching different football teams, and they're all sitting down at Thanksgiving. You know what it means. It's not easy. So, all that said, this is how I look at it, right? So, Jim and I are, founders of Signal and Strain, and we are both. The way it's all right, let's take a walk down the memory lane. It all starts with, again, wine. No, Jim and I have had many conversations, right? We share a common passion. We have done similar things, but differently. All right, we have different experiences, but yet somehow our thinking connects us, right? And yet we have our differences. We have our different styles, right? I know Jim's style, and every day is a learning. You learn. He gets to learn about me. I get to learn about him. I'm married for 24 years now. Next year is my silver jubilee, and I've known my wife for 27. And every day is a learning process. Okay, so what I'm telling you is, at the end of the day, I go from my perspective. All relationships are based on few fundamental, parameters, for lack of better words. One is communication. Always communicate, right?
Right.
Be open. Don't hide things. If something's bothering you, say it. If you're excited about something, share it. Just communicate. So I think Jim and I do that very well. And believe me, I can be frustrated and he calms me down, and he can be frustrated and I can calm him. That's a great compliment. We can be like the balance for each other. So that's one piece. So coming back to how we set it up, that's the fundamental. When we say it's equal, we don't want complications. What's the point? If you want to build something, and if you're building something with thousand different kind of things that what if this doesn't work out? What if he's doing this? What if he's, you're already lost the battle. No, seriously, it's not worth it. Why are we building something? What's the end goal for myself and Jim? And I'm speaking behalf of him, and he's not here, but I'm pretty confident that I can say this. We both are in our lives at a moment and stage, I will say third quarter. That's my perspective. Because if we can hit the fourth quarter, that's awesome. That's awesome, right? That's great. I want to be retired and be in the fourth quarter. But we are in our third quarter, and we both wanted to do something together. And we also were done working for someone else. Nothing wrong with it. We learned from others. We were fortunate enough to be part of teams. Absolutely grateful for that. I'm not taking anything away or putting anything down. But on the other hand, we also knew what we can do together that is different than, maybe perhaps different. I don't know the answer. So I think that's what the basis was. So our partnership is founded. The foundation is family first. Okay. It's just business, right? Whatever we do, we need to support our family. They need to be happy. And he and I need to have a smile on our face. Even if we are grumpy, we got to be able to sit down over the weekend and say, whatever, right? I'll go hit some golf balls thinking about all the, people piss me off. I finally can't say that on the call. But you get it, right? I think that's the foundation. Yeah. We both believe in that. And I think that's what makes it work. So we took that philosophical approach, and then we applied that, translated that into the legal world. Because it's great to sit and talk about it, but then if you're not executing, implementing it, you still will have, somebody will have, oh man, I don't want that. I didn't want it that. I wanted to make sure, Jim, hey, whatever, man, let's make it happen, right? What's the point if we can't even do this? And that's kind of the philosophical to legal way. We set it up without getting into the legalities. We set it up like that. So literally think of it as Signal and Strain is our baby. We have to raise it together. And if we do a good job, it can sprout into something beautiful. And for whatever reason, which I don't buy at all, but for whatever reason, it doesn't go in the direction we want it to go, we both still will be sitting together and saying, we tried, big deal, we'll start something else. So I think that's my point of view, how I approach things, and that's how we set it up. So from philosophical approach to a legal approach, just kind of keep it simple. My point to the world, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're thinking about starting something new, keep it simple. Don't complicate it. And we can go into the whole manifestation stuff, but I'll say, if you're going to worry about something, you're the one creating the situation for it to happen. So don't worry about it.
Yes. Yes. 100%. Could not agree more on that. I love it. And this is the friendship that you have, and that's the relationship. Going back how you say, like, every single relationship is hard. It takes a lot of work. Learning is always a thing. And also you want to be continuously being curious about that other person and learning from each other how to be better with their complementary skill sets, because your role is very different. Like how you and Jim set out what divided in a way of like, okay, I'm going to be doing this role and that role. Can you speak more about what Jim is doing versus what you're doing, and how you guys can trust each other in the judgment and lens, for you doing the brand side and then for him doing the strategy side?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question, Cee, particularly if there are two strats out there who want to start something, or two account people, I don't know. But that's a great question. I'm not going to go into details of it. There's a saying that you can't put two swords in one cover, So two strat individuals, if we play the same role, it's going to be a challenge, just the way it is, right? But the good news here is that we both have different experiences. I've been an entrepreneur. I have been in some crazy things in my life. I ran a studio, a mocap studio. I write screenplays. So I've done things that's not normal. And I'm very fascinated from a business perspective, how to grow a business, how to think like an executive, stuff like that. So it helped. Where it helped was, it's very simple. We have a two-step formula. I don't think there's a formula, but I'm calling it out as a two-step approach. Step one is before the functional roles, this titles we call CEOs and CIOs, before this kicks in, we both share the same passion. We both share the what I call the round table of decisions. Okay, we decide everything together. We talk about it everything together. Right? There is a functional decision which I'll come to, but we decide. We talk about it. There's no such thing as Raj, you're the CEO, you get to decide this, or Jim, you're the CS. No, no such thing as like that. We both talk about it. We talk about everything. You know, we talk about our dogs for crying out loud. So we talk about everything, okay? And the idea is if we can discuss it and we can come to somewhere, whatever that somewhere is, it doesn't have to be perfect. But then we get into the gear of the functional roles. So me, when it comes to once the discussion is done and when it comes to the vision of the company or direction and who we need to talk to, as a CEO, I can drive that. But we have already discussed it. Now I can go. Jim has the trust. This is where Raj shines very well. Let him do the crazy thing he does, right? And the same exact way on the contrary, when it comes to now, let's develop the strategy. Let's think innovatively. What does that feature looks like? All that stuff. We have discussed it. Now I have full faith, no doubt. I tell him all the time, run with it. Okay, and that's the point of it. You've got to have the trust word that you said. That's the tricky one. You don't say you have trust. You have to act on it. Mm-hmm. I don't lose my sleep overnight thinking, oh, the strategies. No, I've got Jim. Well, we'll talk about strategy. We need to talk about. There's no such formula, anyways, right? So I think that's so we have our decisions are made together. We discuss everything together. We have the trust, the mutual respect that, okay, if it needs to deviate, there's got to be a reason. I can explain my reasoning to my partner, but that's his role. He respects my role, I respect his role. And what it really does is, well, let's put it like this. It also gives us something to play with, some ownership. We're not doing the same thing, overlapping. Could you imagine? I'm working on a framework. He's working on a framework. We're not aligned on a framework. Well, good luck with the business, right? So it just that is the balance I look at it like. So, like I said, no formula, but that's how we have set it up. So
I love it. Yeah. So how are you guys? With so we talked about the legal structure. We talked about the business partnership. We talked about how you're able to this decision-making framework. Now, when you're thinking about strategy as a whole, before we go into the strategy side, I want to learn more about your business principles because I want to learn more about you as the businessman. I want to learn more about how you see business and how you define the game, how you like to play in the game, and I would love to understand how you define the arena and environment from your perspective.
Oh, that's a great question. You might need a couple of hours, see, for this conversation. I don't know if you're going to get through all of that. Now you got me like, ooh, she wants to know. No, all right. Again, simplify, right? So let's look at today's market, right? You can have all the buzzwords and you can say whatever you want to say. Let me start from this. These are my POVs that I apply to the world of business. Number one, when I look at, I've always said it, the needs of people do not change. No, they do not.
They don't.
3,000 years ago, somewhere in the bar, one guy was drinking and he said, I can't believe this world is going to the bread and the basket. Oh, everything is coming apart. And 3,000 years later, somebody's still saying that, oh, the world is falling apart. Point I'm making is the needs don't change. But see, the context changes. So to me, the way I look at business is that, and I'll say a few things that might be a little controversial in some people's world. I never bought into this notion of we are in the business of making our clients happy. I'm not into that. Okay, I never bought it. I never didn't get that concept. But I always bought the notion, and you asked me about my business approach. I've always bought the notion of we are in the business of making our clients profitable.
Yeah.
But how you make them profitable is by making their audience happy.
Right.
So that's the trick over here, right? So the fundamentals of our business is, first of all, you need to know what you're doing. In other words, don't do everything. Okay, I might be a Swiss Army knife, but I don't want the business to be a Swiss Army knife. You see my point? So, as creative
Yes.
growth partners, for us, first
Yes.
rule of business is strategy. Always keep strategy in front. Okay, I know Jim's gonna love this one. So but that's the fact, right? So that's number one. Number two, I look at business as um, uh, be a little malleable, be more like water, right? Work with your clients to figure out what is that they're solving for. We can get into the strat part of it, and I will tell you what my POV on that is. But it's more around build a business that is addressing the needs of your whatever the client is, what they're solving for. You should know what you're trying to solve for, who you are. Don't be try to everything. Don't get into signal and strains. One of the biggest thing we want to do is bring in partners. I don't want to do it.
Right.
Neither does Jim, right? We can have great partners. The idea is this. I always say this: there has to be so many Rajas and Jims out there who have accomplished so many things, but are sitting there thinking, "Oh, I don't know. I want to do something." Well, do with us. We invite you.
Yeah.
Come on over. Work with us. I think that's the idea of the business. I look at it like that, and then set up a growth. Have an idea what your growth looks like. You don't go out and claim yourself to be creative growth partners if you don't have your own kind of growth laid out. There's a vision to it. Where we want to be 6 months from now. Where do we want to be 1 year from now? Where do we want to be 3 years from now? And I'm going to go back. I know I'm giving a little bit more than what I'm supposed to, but because you asked about legality and how we set it up, we even have our 2 year marker, right? We need to get to the 2 year marker to be able to reflect back and see what's working and what's not working. Because
That's great.
before you do it early, it's a premature.
Yeah.
You don't have enough runway to figure things out. But 2 years seems like a good point where Jim and I can say if we are successful, in what ways we are successful, are we doing too many things, do we need to scale down? If you're not doing anything, how the hell did we end up to 2 year marker to begin with? All those questions will come into play, right? So I think that's how the business is set up. That's how I approach things. And then last but not the least, which is my favorite part, I consider myself a true visionary, true futurist, a neurotic thinker, so to speak. I'm always trying to figure out, and I have a line I use constantly. It's on my LinkedIn in the background too. It's really about inventing the inevitable, and the idea is really to think forward. Don't think backwards. Learn from it, but move forward. So I'll leave you one thing. I studied under Clayton Christensen, and he used to talk about jobs to be done, and he used to talk about Wayne Gretzky and where the puck is going to be. I do like that. I actually have adopted that model. What made Wayne Gretzky so amazing, goal scorer, was the fact everybody else will follow the puck. He used to imagine where the puck's going to be, and he'll be there. And that made him the best, the legend that he is. And it's a great analogy to understand. So those are my approaches to business, how I look at it, how I structure it, and how I add value. And everything else is pay attention, listen to what they are to say, and then you'll figure it out.
That pay attention part, Raj, I think is what makes strategists very, very valuable because it's the perspective, it's the insights, it's what you can't, or people who are really in it, they are, unfortunately, it does become a tunnel vision, and that's okay because that's part of what it is. But it's having your personal board of advisors, right? It's having that counsel that allows you to think about things that you may have had a blocker in some shape or form. So how do you talk about that model a little bit more? I love that model that you have. So how do you integrate that into your decision making? How do you integrate that with your clients, your strategy, and your approaches?
Yeah, it's hard one. See, that's a tough one.
I keep on asking you hard
Yeah,
questions.
yeah, yeah. It's a hard one. Because, clients, everybody's different, right?
Yes.
Everybody, not everybody's cup of tea, right? The same cup
Yeah.
of tea. And it depends, right? I can speak how I approach it, and now how we approach it, so to speak, right? I think the first part is, and I'll say this, strategy to me, and if I use that, it's really a permission, it's like a permission structure to ignore everything. No, seriously. That's how I look at it, right? If you have to be polite, but be firm to 90% of the noise or more than
Right.
that. You have to. I'm not, I promise to the fellow strategists in the world who are listening, I'm not going to say anything and bash. But well, let's face it, I've heard everything. Strategy is words, strategy is decks. I've seen strategy where there's four-letter words: elevate, amplify, and I think to myself, what are we doing? But I can't say much, right? Agency world's all different. Everybody does things differently. But the part that what I would say, how we execute in real business, in real life with our clients, is strategy is mostly about learning to kill. I know it sounds bad. Oh, what are we killing something? It's dramatic, but that's what it is. Most organizations see today they are doing 30 things.
Yeah.
And let's face it, agencies, they're doing 30 things. And what does the 30 things do? Well, yeah, it is great billability, no doubt about it. It's a good thing. Everyone's busy. But what's the point of being busy if you're not delivering what you need to deliver on? Right? No, that's my point, right?
Yes.
So to me, I think the challenge I've always had is telling somebody, oh, I love these conversations, by the way. See, like I've had clients where they get so passionate about doing something, and I have to listen to them. And then after I hear everything out, I have to tell them, as much as you love it, we've got to kill it.
Right.
And it breaks their heart. But then you walk them through the real, listen, the real test is simple. Does strategy change someone next Monday morning? Today's Monday, right? Yeah. So the next Monday morning or Monday afternoon when you meet somebody, has strategies changed something? See, if it's just a deck that lives in a folder, it doesn't shift anything.
Nothing.
If it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if it doesn't shift anyone's calendar, if it
Right.
doesn't shift anyone's budget, if the question they're asking is it's all the stuff in the meetings, it's just decor, nothing else, right?
Right.
So to me, I would say this though, and I can give you examples. I worked one time in a small like a startup restaurant, so to speak, and they wanted to do everything. And today's day and age, it's even dangerous, see, because you can chat GPT anything. If you ask chat GPT will give you the entire playbook, right? So they wanted to do everything. And I had to bring them back by cutting everything into the fundamental roots to say, is there one thing you want to be known for? And I brought the old diner model, almost like Pickett. I went with, almost like the Taco Tuesday, something on Tuesday, put a menu
Yeah.
that all the people can remember, all their service folks can remember. And then I told them, I said, here's what's going to end up happening if we do it right. And it actually happened. I said, it's going to catch fire. You're going to be famous for one thing. Your regulars are going to come, and then they're going to bring the irregulars. And what the most magical thing happened when you transform something like that is somewhere down the road, somewhere far away, someone else was copying that. And I remember the restaurant getting worked up, and I said to them, don't. Means what you're doing is working.
Bingo.
The fact someone is willing to copy your formula, it's working. So that's how I
It's
look
the
at it.
greatest indicator. Don't you love that, Raj? It's the greatest indicator that you're doing something right, but then that's the moment that you have to double down, and I think that's when you 10x.
Yeah. Yeah, but pay attention. I mean, I
Yeah.
think that's the hardest thing is, to me, the hardest thing is telling someone when they are so passionate about something. And it's okay. I mean, it's like a doctor, right? We go to a doctor and the doctor says, oh, that's just great. I'm going to take your limb away. Otherwise, you won't survive. Now, what do you mean you're taking my limb away? My first reaction is going to be, I can't play golf. That's a heartbreak for me, right? So and I
Okay.
think it's a little bit of that. And I think that's what makes a good, anybody who's thinking about growth, anybody who's thinking about strategy, and when you're working with clients, having those tough conversations. And that's what I earlier meant by what I was saying, permission structure to ignore things. You gotta ignore things. You can't hold on to things.
Yeah. It's that pivot, right? So you're really going into about how to pivot gracefully,
Yeah.
and how to pivot honestly. And can you talk a little bit more about the letting go part? Because I think that's really interesting. I love what you're saying here about how to let go of the moment when you're yearning to learning. Can you speak more about this?
Sure. you want me to get into the a little philosophical approach of mine?
Yeah, because I think, well, people are always in their heads, right? So,
Mhm.
especially when, executives are there's not so many executives. Like, there's a reason
Mhm.
why there's like certain um, the circumstances and situations. And so I think whether if they have a coach, they don't have a coach, if they have a great support system, if they don't have a great support system, if things are changing, they need a new reference group because their goals and objectives have changed. But it's more about this life principle I think you really follow by in making sure that they can ground themselves and then making sure that they are being fulfilled individually, because if they can help themselves then they can help other people along the way and doing really incredible obligations and responsibilities and commitments that are required to lead by action and lead by example in such a healthy and functional way.
No, that's great. Talk about bringing it to a very serious tone. No, I love it. No, see, that's a hard one, but so, all right. I'm trying to figure out where do I start from because it's a very common issue, and you talked about let go. Letting go is a hard one, right? Let's understand. Oh, I know where to start from now. Okay, uh, the funny thing of human beings is that we all want control. We're sitting on a rock that's going through the space 18 miles per second. Think about that. And we want control. We don't control anything, right? Now, it's easy to say not everybody follows that and understands that, and I get it. We've got jobs. We want to be best in everything. We want to get our 15 minutes of fame. Everybody wants to talk about, ooh, look at this guy, right? I get all that stuff. I try to stay away from all that stuff, but it's a hard one to do, and I get it. I think the most fundamental way I'll tell people is to get out of your own head is just think of it. At the end of the day, none of this matters. I know it sounds scary and depressing. No, it's not, right? The odds of us, and I'm going to go completely tangent here. See, the odds of us, for you and me right now, being on this call, having a conversation, meeting together, whether it's through gym or not, like all of these things have to happen. Like they happen. They just didn't happen. They didn't happen for me. They didn't happen for you. They just happen, right? What we make out of this is our decision. So the only thing we can control is our actions, right? Nothing else. But I say in translating into the business world, my answer always has been, you're going to be in situations where you have to make tough decisions. Sometimes things may look very good, easy. It's going to happen. Oh, this is all great. Yeah, but you have to understand that's the beauty of the universe, right? Everything is cyclical and paradoxical in nature. Um, Ask yourself, if things are not going your way. I have an exercise. I'm happy to give it to the people. I call it the so what if way. So what this happens? But what if that happens? And then I reverse it. But what if this happened? So what that happens? So you keep playing with that, right? And you realize at the end of the day, there is no outcome that's going to satisfy you. And I will say this: if you think, oh, you got a business, we won an RFP, this is exciting, da da da, all that is good. But let's face it, every RFP that we win, one day we're going to lose it. Right? That's why they
Yeah.
keep sending the RFPs out. So what the lesson there is, whatever, if you have a high, you're going to have a low. If you're going to
Right.
have a low, you're going to have a high. Have that faith. Oh yeah, all right, it is what it is. Today I'm granting the low. Tomorrow it's going to be fantastic. So I think let go is hard. It's understanding. The best way to put it is, what are you letting go? So I'll leave it with this. Most people think they have control and therefore they have to let it go. That's not the secret. The secret is you have to let go of the notion that you think you have the control to begin with. There's a difference. Okay? It's a huge difference. Once you let go of that, that's in spiritual world we call surrender. You surrender doesn't mean, oh, I'm letting go of my control. No, surrender means that, crap, I didn't have the control to begin with. That's the point where you realize something. When you realize that, things change for you. So I take that and I apply that to the business world. But we see, listen, it's not easy. Even for me, it's not easy. There are going to be moments you get emotional. Human beings are supposed to get emotional. You can't let go of your emotions. If anybody says that, please don't listen to that. You're going to get hurt. You're going to cry. It's just the way it is, right? But once you go through your emotions, once it's done, you have cried, you have been happy, you have been sad, whatever it is, at some point it has to stop, right? And when you
Right.
stop, you say to yourself, all right, it ran its course. I don't need to attach myself to that. I need to move on.
Detachment. Yes.
Yeah, that's it. Because
Yeah.
that was then. And I have a beautiful story, but I don't want to eat up all the time. But I have a great story about it. It's a monk story. A young monk went to an old monk and he said, I've been in this monastery for a long time. I've tried everything, all this mumbo jumbo. Nothing's working out for me. I'm still in turmoil. I'm not able to meditate. I'm not able to focus. Da 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 da. The old monk looked at him and he laughed, smiled, and he chuckled a little bit. And the young monk asked him, why are you chuckling? He says, it's all right, it's all right. I want you to go back and try again. Okay? This shall pass. So he said, okay, all right, good. He goes back and he tries again. A couple of years later, he's all kind of a different monk altogether. And he sees this old monk again. He's like, I've been looking for you everywhere. Where have you been? I have to say to you, thank you. I listened to you, I went back and I tried again. I'm in a much better place. To which the old man laughed again. So this young monk was very confused and he asked him, why are you smiling and chuckling now that I am in a better place? And the old monk said, it's okay, this shall do pass.
Oh, yes. Yes, yes, yes. And this is I really think that is all bundled in this like category of emotional regulation and awareness. In I love everything that you just said, and how you said in such a great way, because my head's now buzzing, because I think when there's a win, there's a loss, right? And it's like when you have a really great day, no, it's gonna pour another day, right? And it's how to have these specific business principles and operating in a way that you know you're being able to manage financially correctly, in a way that you have that percentage of profit to then be able to help out on the rainy days or to reinvest. And then also like the wins and losses of like, you might have that RFP win or you might have won that pitch, but be sure there's going to be another day that you might lose, and that's part of the game. It's just how many wins, how many losses. It's like it's like for sports, right? It's like you're going to win some days and you're going to lose some days, but hope that like everything happened in a way that you will win whatever you want to be able to win, but you just try again and again. But even if you do win, have that home run, that attachment to it and letting that define you is kind of the booby trap. And it's like if you can detach from it, it's like you're gonna feel great. You're gonna win some days or lose some days. Like that's how I think that's the master of emotional regulation. If you can master that, I just feel like you can master being a very secure kind of person, a secure leader, that you can have this high emotional intelligence that you're going to be able to lead people along the way, whether that's projects, whether that's companies or brands, to be able to do it in a way that they can look up to, in a way of like, oh, okay, reliability. It's like these essences of like breadwinnership, right? Being a breadwinner, it's like reliability, stability, calm, collectedness. I mean, we can go into stoicism, whatever, but like in the point of like someone can feel like, oh, I can trust, right? I can trust that no matter what, this person is safe.
100%. See, you said it. It's contagious. That's what you're talking about, right? When we say brands, clients, they're all human beings. Right? We're interacting with businesses. We're talking to the CEOs and the CMOs, the brand leaders, whoever. Every single person is involved. In fact, even when we say, if I may, I'm going to go here. Even people like when I work with businesses, and there's a lot of multiple stakeholders, and I've always told people that your stakeholders are not audiences. Okay, they're just stakeholders, and what you have to understand, sometimes the person who the organization thinks is in the peripheral becomes the most pivotal person in the work we have to do. I have examples where I have had literally a small decision to somebody who's supposed to come in and open the event in the morning, the guy who's responsible for opening the door, giving him a little rundown on what we are doing, sitting down, giving him a cup of coffee, like bringing him into the loop on everything, making him look like he's very important for the success of this event. And that person next day made it all awesome, right? Because felt like I'm contributing to it. I think your point is contagiousness. If you show up as a business leader, walking it with confidence, you know how you're approaching it, have respect, you know, clients see that. They always see that. We call it, oh, they like our chemistry. That's what they are seeing. They're seeing how you walk in, how you present yourself. Are you easy to work with? At the end of the day, are you at a human level, right? And I always say this, we're dealing with humans. That's all it is. So I love how you were able to connect that. That's really, there's no secret, but to me, I believe if you do that right, you'll be successful. You'll be able to add value to the clients that you're working with, and also compartmentalize, right? Not everyone on the client side is going to understand the same thing. You know, I've had this situation where I have gotten all the stakeholders what I used to think stakeholder buy-in is an important thing. Oh no, I learned that lesson a long time ago. There's no such thing as that, because there's always one person who may not be part of the stakeholder, but can come in and completely want the idea. So I think that's the whole part of it. The concept here is you show up with the right attitude and make sure they get to see it, and that if they want to. All right, let me rephrase it. The best, coolest thing is when someone reaches out to you versus you reaching out to them and saying, hey, see, I want to be part of this. Think about that, right? I'm sure people reach out to you and they go like, see, when are you going to invite me? I want to be part of it. That's the point. That is the point.
Yeah.
But you reaching out to folks, they're coming to you and saying, which means you're doing something right, which means you're able to connect with them. And that's how I look at it. The business and real life is exactly the same. You know, if you're able to see it, you'll navigate it. Now, I say all this, I'm still to build the signal and strain with Jim. We're still in our baby stages, right? But I'm hoping our lessons and our approach will help us get where we want to get quickly.
No, I totally agree, and thank you so much for being super kind on that. And when you guys are creating signal and strain, like, I mean, when I think about strategy, it's like the value of strategy is so high, but it can also mean nothing. It's like what Jim and I were talking about. It's like a $10 word to some people, but then realize it's like a multi-million-dollar thing. And like, I think it's, you know, the clients that, you know, we both want to be able to work with are people who have their calendar that is aligned to knowing how to take that strategy and turn it into execution and make it into a reality. And to your model and to your point here is, I'm just going to butcher it, of course, is event inevitable, outlined by design.
Oh, yeah. Well, so yeah, I think there's two parts, right? One, I'm glad you brought it up. See, there's two parts to it, right? One, strategy itself, but if you don't know how to execute it, they're just words. I mean, let's face it. I will say a lot of things that'll be controversial. The strategy to me is like 99 times you're off. Okay, yeah, but come on. Otherwise, if you develop one strategy, that should be good for the rest of your life. But it's not the case, right? So I mean, because things change and just the way it is. But you raised a great point. See, it's execution too. Now, all right. Now, how do we bring it to life and ways to bring it to life, and also not overdoing it? Just because we have strategy doesn't mean we have to do across. Go on, let's do an omni-channel across everything. Yeah. But are you just spending the money or actually measuring something? And I'll go last piece, which we didn't discuss, which I would call out as, you know, the biggest piece that's missing in businesses. Oh, I don't care if they get mad at me for this. Okay, everyone says strategy, everybody says tactics and that. But I can tell you, I am yet to see an organization that can show me very clearly how they have measured impact. Most organizations, measurement, collecting data is not measurement, guys. Come on, get over it. If you can't
And
show
dandy metrics too.
yeah. If you don't know how how you're moving the needle, and sometimes it's not obvious from data, showing impact is a big piece. Now, I think you asked me about my personal motto of invent the inevitable and outlier by design. All right, that's personal to me. Okay, it's not really a signal strain, but it's personal to me. I've always looked at it as when I say invent the inevitable, our job is to create the environment and atmosphere where we know it's inevitable. We're just going to get there. We're not, listen, strat people are, we use buzzwords. Oh, forecasting, and
Yeah.
we're not fortune tellers. If anybody says we are fortune tellers, I will call BS on that. Okay, we're not fortune tellers, but we can see the patterns and we can see where it could be, and our job is to shape that environment. And I always say this, right? You can't ask someone to
Yeah.
go fish, but create the environment for someone to go fish. That's really the concept. So to me, invent the inevitable is my philosophical approach of create the environment. And outlier by design is something I take a lot of pride on. I've always seen myself as a contrarian. Okay, I don't follow the norms at all. I'm a nonconformist. I'm 100% the salmon in a sea of tuna. If everyone's going in one direction, I'll probably, just to piss people off, go in the other direction. But the point is, I've learned this, that if you look at different, I call it the kaleidoscope view. Strat is really about that. Getting to, if you are a strategist and if you think here's the way of doing it, you missed the point. But if you're a strategist who understands there are infinite ways of doing it, I just need to keep changing my perspective, and then
Yeah.
you'll be good, and you'll be successful, and you'll learn. I learn every day. See, every single day, and I learn from the most unbelievable sources. Sometimes I won't even know. I'll be walking, taking my dog on a walk. I could be watching the ants on the ground, and I'll watch them for 5 minutes. I'll be like, that's very interesting what they're doing. So it never ends, and you get ideas from all these places, so to speak. So that's my personal motto, but it applies into the business when I approach things.
No, I think it makes sense because, like, I mean, you are a part of the business. You are, it's all rooted from, you and Jim. So I don't think that there's really much of a delineation. If anything, I think I would trust you more, for having that standpoint. And I want to wrap up here in this specific subtopic of environment, because I'm very, very, I feel very strongly about the word environment because it is really important. And I think whether it's a mental environment or physical environment, spiritual environment, whatever environment, right? Like, it's just like, I feel like that's kind of where, when we were talking about control earlier, it's like knowing that you don't have control, but what are the things that you can design that is within your ability and capacity to then make sure that it's allowing you to thrive and for you to maximize your fullest potential. Can you talk a little bit more about what does a winning environment for you look like, Raj?
Co-creation, one word. Okay, I can elaborate on that whole day. Co-creation. Listen, you look at the nature. All right, whether you like it or not, you and I did not create it. Nature existed before us. It's going to continue existing till the star explodes, right? Or something. We might screw it up. That's a whole different ball game altogether. I'm not going to go there. But nature is a great example, right? What makes nature so phenomenal is everything that's co-created. And we use the word diversity. I know today's day and age it means, but when I say diversification is coexistence of everything together in some balanced form. Okay, whether we like the balance or not, it does exist. Okay, there's ups and downs and da 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 da. Whether it's in the animal, flora, fauna, what, it doesn't matter. All of that exists, right? So if you take that and you apply in the business, I think the environment is about co-creation, right? You build a team. Make sure you bring everybody into the team. I've seen managers who want to dictate their own way and individuals are very burned out. No, the number two part is co-creation also includes allow the ideas to percolate. No one has monopoly on ideas, see. Everybody has ideas. Everybody's a smart thinker. I would use agency world where only creative team can think creative. No. What are we talking about? You're creative in the house too. Haven't you ever made a dish when you only have four ingredients while it asks for six and you somehow whip it out and everybody goes like, this is the best pasta I ever had. They had no idea that you kind of cut corners here and there, right?
Yeah.
So that's the part. Co-creation, bring everybody, create an environment, everyone feel, I don't want to use the word safe space and all, I don't like, it's more about, listen, everybody has a say, allow them to have a skin in the game and reciprocate by making sure there's a, I don't want to say reward system, but why would you want to have a skin in the game is because you want to feel like I contributed to something that became something. Everything doesn't have to be monetary. Everything doesn't have to be equity. Everything doesn't have to be that, right? So to me, that's how you create an environment. And then also, when I say co-create, it's not just about the peeps, Co-create an environment for even the naysayers. I don't know if you ever read the book. Have you ever? I used to use this book. My God, I just didn't even think about it till now. It was called Six Hats of Thinking. Ed Bono or something. I forget his name. Anyway, he used to have different hats you can wear, and I used to apply that back in late 90s and early 2000. Because you will have those balloon poppers, and I love those balloon poppers. Those people who come and go like, "Yeah, but that's the worst idea I've ever heard." Why? We want them to be able to say it's the worst idea, and we want to know why is it. So I think I use co-creation because all of this is how you create an environment. Everyone, and that's how businesses are going to be successful. And actually, it's not rocket science. I did not share anything with you that is unique. I promise you. If you look at the organizations that have done it well, have survived for longer time, they have adapted to these things. You can follow them. Everybody loves to talk about Apples and the Googles of the world, but no one has taken the time to understand what are they doing so differently that people don't want to leave. People want to stay, right? And where other places people are leaving. So that's how I look at it. Again, is it a formula? I don't know if it's a formula. Here, for us, that's what we want to do. Everybody is welcome. It's like a round table where everybody's a knight, Everybody,
Yeah.
all for one for all. Let's just ride together, die together, bad boys for life, kind of a thing, right? And I think it makes it fun. It makes it fun. I'd rather someone come to me and say, Raj, you're so full of it. And I want to know, how am I full of it? And we can have a conversation about it right now. So I think that's how I look at it. That's, to me, is creating an environment. The moment someone's unhappy, it's very important. The toxicity just keeps building and building, and they will check out. If they check out, it hurts them, it hurts you, whatever. But I say this, but we live in it's all about profits and numbers, and I have been there myself. I have lost jobs myself, I have been on the other side. Well, it's all about the numbers. We got to let you go,
Yeah.
Raj. Bye-bye. I get it, and I respect that. I'm not being mean to anybody. I get
No,
it.
but I love what you're saying here because I'm totally in agreement, and I talk about this a lot too, privately and publicly, of like, it's really important to hear what the other side is saying, basically.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean that you have to like attach to that, but to know what it is more important, I think, of like to then, and then also having, because it's like, okay, are you in the business of convincing, right? You don't have to, it's going to be hard to change someone's belief because they have to change it themselves, and that's a whole nother thing. But it's more about, if you even thought about that perspective, did that even cross your mind? I think of it as a line of self-inquiry. And rather than something to like react to, I feel like it's something where it's like, what do I believe in that specific subtopic, in that direction? And I think and I think this is where the contrarian kind of comes in, maybe. But it's kind of like having this conviction of where you stand, because even it doesn't matter if you're right or wrong, no one's right, no one's wrong, kind of thing. But it's like, what do you really believe in? And I think that is the mastery of like communicating to yourself first, so that you can then communicate it to others. Because if you don't have a stance, then it's kind of like, then what are you here for, right? And it's like, if you're just in a neutral area, then you're never going to play, you're going to always be thinking small, I think. You're never playing big, and you're never able to really be able to see that vision, kind of like that analogy that you brought up earlier about seeing where the destination actually is, rather than so you actually know where you're going. But I really appreciate when you talk about the environment in this way, because it's opening that environment of how to let people also have a say, but in a respectful way, right? And being able to have that conversation to go in and out and exercise that.
100%.
You never know.
You never
might
know.
come out with something else, and you're like, holy crap, I didn't think of it that way, or completely different from two parties.
Yeah, listen, I will read out, not in front of me, but I will read out a LinkedIn bumper sticker moment where I had read somewhere, good teams agree, great teams disagree. Okay, something like that in those terms.
Yeah.
And when I first time I read that, I understood. That's the point of it. Disagreements is actually healthier more than agreements. I mean, I call it, listen, if we all dressed up the same exact way, silver clothes, silver hats, walking around, that'll be like the movies that we had seen the future looks like. How boring is that?
Very boring.
That? You know? And that's the part. But on the other hand, in businesses, it's also about, we are mentoring. All right, let me start from here. I personally was super blessed to work in organizations where I had great mentors. They taught me how to be a leader. They taught me how to think, right? The most important things they taught me was the mistakes they made. That's an important part. A great leader, you can have somebody who can say, I know it all, I can do it all, I'm this, I'm that, right? But if a leader comes and says, hey, Raj, just FYI, these are 3 things I tried, it didn't work out for me, but just be mindful of it. Here are the reasons it didn't work out for me. But without telling me that it's not going to work out for you, right? Those are great mentors. And I say this to you because we have rules of engagement in organizations. We have a CEO, we have a CSO, we have leaders, right? But when we bring the team in, you got to let them know you have a voice. But they also have to understand, in the end, someone's making a decision. Someone is accountable and responsible for this. When your stocks are not doing well, your shareholders are first going after the CEO. Not going to somebody who's working in the organization crunching numbers. So point I'm making to you is, it's a balance. You create that environment of co-creation. Also means it's not a decision by committee. People have roles, and you have to respect those roles, and that's why they get paid for, and that's why they're hired, and so on and so forth. So I think great leaders can see through that. They know how to manage it. And I'm grateful for learning from those. And I'm, like I said earlier, I constantly learn. But that's what it comes down to, really. It's there is no formula. It's just you wing it and you hope that it sticks.
No, that's exactly it. And we figure it out along the way because we have the skills equipped to be able to leverage and maximize it and be flexible in that way. And I just think that's the beauty of life. And I just love everything that you shared in the last hour, Raj. I'm just like blown away. I'm like, oh my God, I learned so much about you. Thank you so much. And like Jim has really said such highly, like I was just like, oh my God, I gotta meet this guy. Like, what are you talking about? I gotta meet, who is this guy? And so Raj, I'm just like, I am just floored understanding your way of thinking, your approaches, and you're totally right. Even though you didn't make all of these different like principles and stuff like that, how you articulate it, how you shape it, how you put that lightning in that bottle, basically, like that's what makes you unique and different and well respected. And I can totally understand now in spending this quality time with you, thank you, on how you are really navigating the space, and you give a very different perspective. And that's what costs the most. That's the investment, is the perspective. And so like that's what I like bring, what you bring to the table, what you contribute is that. And so I just feel like even in the last hour, I'm just like, oh my gosh, I just walked away with just like, now thinking about all these things that I feel like I can double down on because it's very much aligned to how I think and how I, in a contrarian way. And I do feel like whenever someone, let me put it this way, let me summarize in this way. To be at the top 10%, this is what I think about like all the time and how I pick myself back up all the time. To be as part of the top 10%, you're not going to do what the other 90% are doing. And so like that's kind of where I'm like, what the other 90% are doing, their set of beliefs, their set of problems, their set of the way how they do things, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go the other way. And so like that's kind of how I've always been able to do different things. But then also the questions, how you talked about like, oh, like the second guessing or the speculation or the how to deal with that in the environment was very much of like, that's okay, you do your thing, you're cool, you know, I'm gonna do my thing, I'm cool, you know. And so like there's nothing, you know, we really need like there's nothing like no one way is the right way. But I did also learn from your principles and lessons that you learned. It's very much like how do you neutralize or at least compartmentalize what is being projected as well, and then also how to embody the lessons and principles and the strategy that you're trying to say this is the path forward based on the insights, the analytics, the data, what you guys are, the objective is, the target, what you guys want to shoot for. If we're going to shoot for the moon, well, we better damn land, you know, amongst the stars, right? So what does that even look like? The 2-year that you're even talking about, I feel like that's that. So I'm just stunned. I'm just stunned.
Let me just say, first things, couple of quick things. First of all, thank you. Thank you. You have been very gracious and inviting me. I'm glad Jim said a few things. And I'll tell him, what did you tell her? No, really, genuinely, thank you for your time. And thank you so much for you being very gracious. And I very much appreciate it. I'm humbled. I'll be honest with you. And also, I'll say this to you, right? You said something about 10%. I'll say this. I learned this a long time ago, without getting into the details of it. The more you know, the more you realize, the less you know. Okay. And the point being is, I don't mind being in the bottom of so-called the percentage map. I could be at 0, and I'm actually very content being at 0. Okay, never being on top. 0 is great, as long as
we're talking about in the social tiers.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about in terms of in general living life, right? In other words, I'm not doing things to be something. I'm just for me the most important part is, as long as I can look, this is my exercise, as long as I can wake up in the morning, look at myself in the mirror and know subconsciously that I've not hurt anyone, I haven't cheated anyone, I'm only a good guy. I tried sometimes when I always give love, sometimes it backfires, that's okay. It does. But point I'm making is, as long as I know that if I don't accomplish something, it's okay. I'm okay. It's okay. Everything's an illusion. Doesn't really matter. Today I'm here, tomorrow I'm gone. What difference does it make, right? So when you know that, it's okay. So everything on top of it that we do is gravy. So I don't know what people are complaining about. It's gravy. Life is a gravy. Life is the best, amazing, coolest gift you can ever get. You beat all the odds and scientifically I can prove it if we had time to be here. So I, from the bottom of my heart, extremely grateful to you, Cee. And thank you. I wish you nothing but amazing kind of trajectory of success, which I know, and stay connected, which I know you will because we have the common bond called Jim. And I'll let him know how it went.
Thank you, Raj. Wow, I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to jump on a plane and go to Austin like really soon.
Come on over to Austin.
We'll play some golf.
Now we're talking.
All right, high five, Raj. Thank you so much for being on the show, and I really appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.